talk about the geography setting of this bahira. Where is he for from? Where he is he going? So not all biographer specify the name and the geographical setting of the monk. He is often referred to as a certain monk, quote unquote, Rahib Min al Rabban. So where you can see the name is not given, you see them people referring to him as Rahim al Min al Rabban. Some of however call the monk Natsur. So you see the name is also see this is the another character in the earlier apologetic literature. I'm going to explain his backstory, Natsur. So some of the biographer identify him as Natsur, but this is another character we're going to see. This is to be found already with Ibn Ishaq, who present the story twice. So you see the Ibn Ishaq repeating the story twice, and sometime he named the person as Natsuru, sometime is Al Bahira. Yet the name of the monk also appear as Bahira. So he said twice. Some of the I'm sorry. So we're going to talk about the geography, the biography of this person, the anonymous Bahira the monk. Some of the biographer had described his geographical setting. Some said that he is from Syria or Abbasid. He's going from Syria. He's going to Syria from Abbasid. And the name, some of the tradition biographer or tafsir writer has identified this person as Bahira, but sometimes this identify with this name. This is the you'd see the name. The name is very important. You'll see this name in another plane. This is another character actually that appear in many places. So this name is also very important. This to be so in Ibn Ishaq version there is this. In Ibn Ishaq version, he present this story twice. So there is this monk, anonymous monk, appear twice in this story. Yet the name of the monk also appear as Bahira. So he repeat the name twice as Bahira. The sign of the prophet is a very important role in story. Sometimes the account is redness in his eyes and the mark of the prophethood in his shoulder. But again, we find alternative story, simpler account, in which the miraculous aspect of the food and that does not run out. Some of the trope, some of the story, the food that does not run out in this miraculous journey. You see Bahira giving them food that does not run out. You can see biblical mark in biblical. In this version, the location is only said to be in Al Sham, meaning not in specifically Syria. With it, with some it is Bosra. Sometimes it specify as close to Bahira's cell. Not only is there a great diversity in the detail of the well-known account, there are also similar story found scattered through Sira literature, biographical literature. For example, Ibn Saad Tabakat include three shorter and less miraculous tradition about the Prophet meeting a monk in Syria. Apart from the more frequent occurring stories described above, one of those traditions mentioned Bahira, and another one only referred to it as a monk, anonymous monk, and a third one described to about who independently of one another declare that prophet has the eye of the redness in his eye, the eyes of a prophet, and the face of a prophet. So Ibn Saad write furthermore that prophet was already recognized as a prophet when his grandfather was alive. So Abdul Muttalib was alive. So they say the puncturing the traditional account was still alive. There is to say before the prophet became 9 year old. So in this story, in this Ibn Saad version, the people have already recognized him. He was a born prophet. He was not chosen one. Muhammad became 9 year old. The account quote Abdul Mutalik as saying that he had found Muhammad near the Lord tree. So you'll see the trope of Lord tree, as I said before, Al Sidra, with some youngster from the people of the book. and that they had claimed that he was a prophet of the coming community. Al Mawarid, who include a hybrid version of the two of the account above Bahira in his Alam al Nabuwa. Likewise mention an earlier attestation of the uh, prophet by Christian. According to him, a group of Christians come from Syria to Mecca for trade, stay before Al Safa and Al Marwa. When they met the 7-year-old prophet, they marvel at his belief in that one God and proclaim that he is the prophet. Yet another tradition told us that authority of Ibn Abbas tell us that Bahira one met the prophet while accompanied only by Abu Bakr. Prophets was sitting under a lote tree. You see the repeating the trope, lote tree. He was sitting under the lote tree, and the monks tell Abu Bakr that no one has sat there since the Christ did. This event is said to have taken place when the prophet was 20 and Abu Bakr was 18 years old. Both are a teenager. It serves to illustrate that Abu Bakr knew that Muhammad called and was already faithful during the 20 year prior to the first revelation. Al-Kutubi tell the story in Tafsir as the backgrounds to the revelation of the word when he reached the age of full strength. You see this continuation of the tradition that Al-Kutubi has followed, and he write in his tafsir about the background of the verse 46 and 15. On this occasion, the monk is anonymous, but he does mention the name of Vahira in relation to the verse. Those two whom we met in back before this, they believe in it. The verse he write was revealed in reference to the Christian scholar who converted to Islam. So in this tafsir, the Christian, the anonymous Christian scholar who converted to Islam and who come from Abbasid, so he come from Abbasid and to Syria, and going to Syria from Medina with Jafar Abi Talib. Abdul Kutubi call one of them Bahira the monk. So he probably has the monk who recognized prophet in his mind. In an older Tafsir al Muqatil al Sulaiman, who gave the same occasion of revelation for this verse, he's only called him Bahira. Some exaggerate notice that there was a anomaly here, for Bahira was not to have lived till the beginning of the prophetic mission. Therefore, they concluded that this was another Bahira. So Bahira so they give him another name, Bahira the second one. Ibn al Athir, for example, gave them two separate entries in the biography work, Usad al Ghaba. The Quranic verse best known for its praise for Christian 582. This is the verse you can see, and you can read in the quotation. And this is because there are among the priest and monk who they are not proud, who also applied to Bahira. Al-Waqidi, let's talk about Al-Waqidi tell us that this was the fact that verse word allude to the man returning from Abbasid, including Bahira al-Rahib. In his Al-Rad al-Nasara, Ibn Jaish stressed that those words were revealed in reference to the genuine Christian of the type of Bahira and the monk whom Suleiman used to serve. So in this version, the Salman, the Farsi, the slave or Persian, who was the master of this Salman, it was the Bahira, the righteous Christian. He deplored the fact that the sectarian Christian of this time, who to him were clearly not well intentioned. The Muslim added this verse as a friend to themselves. So you see, the Bahira is the actually real Christian, not the Trinity type. So he's like a heretic. Quite a different tradition about Bahira to be found in Ibn Kutuba. In his book Kitab al-Marif, he include the monk in the list of faithful people before the mission of the prophet. He write that in this time, just before Islam's voice was heard at night, proclaiming that the three best people on the earth, Bahira, Rahab al Sham, and another and one who has not come. So he's referring to the prophet. He explained that the one who has not come in the prophet, and that whoever and any one of Rahab's descendant die and is buried, there is always soft rain to be seen as grave. It is quite striking to see the divergence of the opinion that monks suppose origin and location of this monastery. Al-Masudi state that he belongs to the tribe of Abdul Qais. So, according to Al-Masudi, Bahira belongs to the tribe of Abdul Qais. He put it on the map further east from Syria, since the tribe lived in the area of Bahrain. It is said to judge whenever he's based on tradition. It is hard to judge whether this is he arrived on this conclusion on the basis of tradition about the three best people on the earth, that Abu Qutayba and other narrated that Abu Qutayba and other had narrated the first Rab al Shani was said to belongs to the Abdul Qais tribe. Then Masudi may have associated Bahira with him. Abdullah Masudi was also the first Muslim author to record that Bahira is called Sergius among us. So he was the first one to recognize. Masudi was the first one to recognize Sergius as Bahira. This is important.